Hi, welcome back to my vlog. And what I'm going to cover today, I said in my last one I wasn't sure what I was going to cover, and then straight away I realised after I'd said that actually I hadn't really covered the first week in as much detail as I possibly could have. So I'm just going to touch on that again. What I want to say is firstly regarding side effects. So I did mention a couple of possible side effects that can occur on Cambridge Weight Plan, especially in the first week. Now, what if there's an unusual side effect? So possibly, some people will come out in a rash. Sometimes it's likely to be a ketosis rash. Any unusual side effects, let your consultant know. They can give you the best advice possible to tell you what to do. And then also, some people can get a rash sometimes, which can be an allergic reaction to something in, a particular product they've had. Again, if you tell your consultant, they can advise you what to do. Another side effect that some people seem to get within the first week can be an upset stomach. So usually what we find is for some people it could be a possible slight dairy intolerance. So one way to look at that is by taking out certain products and using the lactose-free ones. If it settles down, then you've sort of found your answer to that particular problem. However, sometimes as well, what can happen is some people aren't used to the concentrate of minerals in the products and can get a bit of a loose upset stomach. One way to combat that is to actually split your products. So you can make up half a product at a time. So, with a shake or a smoothie, make half of it up, have half, dilute it with more water, perhaps taking a little bit more water afterwards, and in between having the next half of the other product. Also, something that I didn't mention that I always on first consultation tell my slimmers is week 3. So week 1 is usually a really good loss. However, what I also find comes up an awful lot is people who get really large losses or really small losses. So the people who get smaller losses tend to sort of look at other people's journeys, and somebody else has got sort of £10 in their first week or something like that, and they're quite disappointed with the weight loss that they've got. At the end of the day, your body is only going to give you the weight loss that it's going to give you. If you've been 100% on plan and you've stuck to it, then that's all you could have done, and the weight is coming down, so always praise yourself for that. Be pleased with whatever weight loss you do get. Some people's bodies just don't lose as fast as other people. Now, again, what I find is week 1, the average weight loss I see is about half a stone. So I always sort of say to people, don't expect huge numbers. Be happy with whatever you do get, because at least the weight is coming down. So week 2 is usually a lower loss. Week 3, as I said, I warn all customers about week 3 in their first consultation. Week 3, I find in 6.5 years of doing this, and also being an admin on the Cambridge Diet 100% support page on Facebook, a lot of people will sort of say, I've had a low loss, or I've had no loss. Well, that's what I warn all my slimmers about at the first consultation. Week 3 is notorious for being a low or stay the same. So I just say to everybody, don't expect anything. Whatever you get then is a bonus. So week 3, I've warned you. It's very rare that it doesn't happen. For a few that it doesn't happen to, I find that then it pops up on week 4. I've actually only ever had about 3-4 people maximum. I think it is only 3 who it's just not happened to at all, full stop. Week 3, week 4, then it's popped up later on. So I had a guy recently who was doing really, really well, losing consistent sort of half stone every week. His first week was actually, he lost 1 stone, 4 pound. As I say, he was consistently losing around half stone each week, and then all of a sudden, week 6, up popped that low one. All you have to do is stay focused, know that it's just your body adjusting, and it usually jumps back up the next week. So I also say to my slimmers, what you try and do is get to the end of week 4, look back at your loss as a whole, and then you keep going. So every 4 weeks, you look back at your loss as a whole. Don't focus on the weekly loss. If you do, and you do get the low ones, as I say, if you let it mess with your mindset, then that's what normally throws you off. Then the next week you're not going to get true reflection. Another thing as well is slimmers starting on higher steps. You know, if there's a reason that you need to start on higher step, or you just believe that you would find it easier to start on higher step, then providing there's no restriction for you not to, then when you feel able, and if you wish to, you can actually start moving down through the steps. Vice versa. So if you start off and you're absolutely adamant that you want to do complete meal replacement, step 1A, step 1B, and then you start finding that actually you're struggling more than you ever thought you would, or you know, there's just too many things going on, too many occasions where you feel like you're going to need that step 2 meal, then discuss that with your consultant and move up. One thing I always say right from the start, don't give up, move up. What you'll find is, even if you move to say step 3 or step 4, you're still going to get weight loss. And it's quite similar to perhaps other plans out there, where instead of the 2 products that you would have on step 3 or step 4, if you were to sort of think, if that was swapped for, say, a healthy balanced meal around those calories, it would be quite similar to another plan maybe. However, what you don't get is you don't get the structure on another plan. With Cambridge, you're doing that step, you're putting in the controlled meals, and you're getting the one-to-one support, and you're also seeing the weight come down, but in a more structured way, in terms of, you know what you can and can't have. There's no thinking, well, I overdid it a little bit on that bit, so actually I'll just rein it back in the next day. It doesn't quite work like that. Something else I always say as well is, Cambridge weight plan is quite black and white. There's the grey area in between. If you're tweaking, if you're coming off, trying to move up and down, thinking, well, I can jump from step 1 to step 3, and the carbohydrate level has gone up quite a bit more to step 3 than it was on step 1, then you're going to find that it can halt your weight loss, it can slow your weight loss, and it's not really a good idea to try and move dramatically between the steps. I always say to my customers right from the start, step 1A, 1B, step 2, if there's an occasion coming up, let me know. You can move up for that particular occasion and do a step 2 meal if you want step 1A or step 1B. There's nothing to say that you can't. You just need to discuss that first, that you're advised correctly as to what food and things you can have on that step. Talking about sort of what you can and can't have. Another thing I sort of say to my slimmers as well is, we talk about mixing flavours up. So I'm down in the shop today, and what's the time now? Let me just have a look behind me, because I don't know why it's not coming up on my laptop. Okay, so 25 to 12, and where I've been down here since 8 o'clock this morning, seeing customers back to back, I've been naughty this morning. I've put water in, but first shake is only just going in, first product of the day. I love to do my shakes with water and ice in a blender. However, at the moment I don't have a fridge with a freezer compartment down in the shop with for me to put ice in, to do in a blender with ice, which is my favourite way of doing it. So completely different blender down here. Cup is smaller. That doesn't look small, that looks big, but actually it's not as big as my cups on my blender at home, and this hasn't been done with ice. But new flavour that I keep ending up going for, a vanilla shake with the raspberry and elderflower water flavouring in it. Tastes just like raspberry ripple. So that's my one this morning. I need to get that out of the way before the next customer comes in. Okay, so a couple of other flavours that I really like to mix up. I like to mix up half chocolate shake with half key lime pie. And then what you can do as well is you can pop in a tiny drop of either the old Sunshine orange water flavouring, if you can still get that, or a little bit of the new lemon and lime water flavouring. And what that does, it lifts the lime flavour. Other ones as well. So generally they do come down to being mixed pretty much half chocolate with half something. So half chocolate with half fruits of the forest, half chocolate, half cappuccino. The same as if you find a particular flavour that, you know, you find it quite strong. So for me with the chocolate orange, it's not a flavour that I would particularly go and grab as one of my first ports of call, but if it happens to be lurking around and I suddenly think, oh, do you know what, I haven't had one for a while, I quite fancy having one of those, then what I'll do is I will get the again the chocolate shake, and I will get the chocolate orange shake, and I will mix them. I find the chocolate orange one is a little bit strong in flavour for me. Sometimes it can leave almost like a coating on the back of my throat, which if I dilute it with half chocolate, then actually I find that's fine. Something I've been advising my slimmers this week, so water flavourings. As I say, not only are they usually great for just popping in your water, whether it's sparkling water, make it a little bit more refreshing, or just for getting your water in, you can also use them to make jelly. So you make the jelly with the Mix-a-Mousse powder, water flavouring, and pop it in the fridge. Away you go. What you can do though, today is a nice sunny hot day, which is supposed to get even hotter over the weekend. Slushes with your water flavouring, loads and loads and loads of ice, a little bit of water, your water flavouring, blend it up. Again, really refreshing for this, you know, this time of year with the weather warming up. And then also ice lollies. So with the ice lollies, again, just, you know, add some water flavouring into water and pop that into the ice lolly moulds, and then pop it in your freezer. One thing you should never do is freeze your products. By freezing your products, it's actually depleting the nutrients and killing them. So there you go, you heard it here, and please don't, as I tell all my slimmers, do not freeze your products. And something else I just wanted to really quickly touch on, your first week. So if you've ever heard about Cambridge Weight Plan before, and you've heard really good things about it, and you've decided to give Cambridge Weight Plan a go, then generally sort of, you know, you're all geared up and you've heard positive things from whoever told you about it, and you're thinking, yeah, you know, I can do this, I want to give it a go. But then what you can sometimes find is you start on Cambridge Weight Plan, and people you know, work colleagues, just other people, if you're sort of chatting about what you're doing, can be quite negative about it. You know, they'll be saying, oh, I heard it's just this, and, you know, I heard you're going to be hungry, I've heard it can give you gallstones, I've heard, you know, so-and-so landed themselves in hospital. Oh, didn't I read at one point that somebody died from being on that? Okay. Rewind. If Cambridge Weight Plan was not safe to follow, then it wouldn't have been around for over 30 years. There's never been somebody who has died from being on Cambridge Weight Plan. You don't starve. There's plenty of choice within our products to keep you going, and yeah, as I've mentioned before in a previous vlog, you may find that for the first few days you can get hungry as the carb withdrawal if you're on the lower steps, and just adjusting to having smaller meals and being on plan in general. So negativity from other people, how to deal with it, just let them know that, as I've said before, this is your journey. It's for you to make up your own mind. You know, unless you have done Cambridge Weight Plan, unless you're on it and you can experience it and give your side of it, then there's no point listening to any negativity somebody else might feed you. You know, if you're fine on it and you're doing well, then, you know, what right have they to comment on how you're choosing to lose weight? Did they comment when you were getting bigger, or did they comment when you were unhealthy and needing to lose weight? So, as I say, it's your journey, it's your decision. Just try not to let any negativity towards what you're doing affect your mindset while on plan. So, with that all being said, I'm going to finish my shake, as I say, before my next slimmer arrives. But have a fab weekend. You know, sunshine's supposed to be out. Remember your water. Pop your products in. You know, space them out evenly. Don't, whatever you do, suddenly think, I'm going to have a step 2 meal. You know, somebody's invited me over for a barbecue. I'm going to step up for that day. I'll drop one of my products out. No, that's not the way it's done. Step 1A, step 1B, you would have your 3 or 4 products. If you're changing to step 2, you would still have 3 products a day and the protein meal. Do not drop your products. So, enjoy the sunshine. Have a fab weekend, and I'll be back again soon, and hopefully you'll join me again. So like, comment and subscribe, and see you all soon.